Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy chilling with Q10, and we back at it again. Know it's been a while since I made a video. Uh, just life, man, life in general. With COVID and all kind of stuff going on. But today we back at it again, and guess what? Got another build for you, another computer build. Yes, no, past couple years um, since the 30 series came out with Nvidia and AMD's 6000 series video cards, it's been tough to get them. With COVID, with the shipments, just trying to get parts, the silicon shortage, all that stuff. And we all know that we're not going to pay scalper price to get a video card. So it's been about a year since they've launched. And finally, the price has been coming down. Not as low as I would like it, and preferably other people would like it also, but at least they are at what they're considering MSRP. So, with that being said, today we are going to do a mini ITX build. Yes, mini ITX build, and it's going to be a gaming powerhouse. Just to go over a few of the components, the case itself is going to be the Fractal Torrent Nano, and the Torrent Nano is a beautiful case. They have the regular full tower case, or should I say mid tower case, and then they have a compact model. Then they have the Nano, which is the mini ITX. And it's a beautiful case, RGB fan in the front. We'll be taking it apart, unboxing it, and I'll show that on the video once we get to that part. But so yeah, that's the case we're going to be using. And at the bottom of the case, I have some Noctua Chrome Max NF812 by 15. So the slim fans that'll fit right underneath of the case where the video card's going to sit and get some more airflow into that case. And these 15 millimeter fans should fit perfectly. I'm hoping everything goes well with this video card and it fits flush. And I have, just the right amount of gap in there, so it's not touching anything. But we'll see how it goes. So for the motherboard, we're going to be using this Asus B660i. Of course, the reason I went with the 660i is because the Z690 is too expensive for a mini ITX. We were talking about $220 versus $420 or $30. You're looking at close to a $200 difference. The only reason you may want to get a Z690 motherboard is if you're going to be overclocking, and if you're using the biggest Intel CPU that they have, the most fastest one, the 12900K, and they're about to come out with the KS. If you want to overclock it or get the most performance out of that CPU, then yeah, go with a 690. You're going to pay, especially in mini ITX. So today we're going to be pairing that with Intel's 12700K, and I mean, you could probably overclock it a little bit and get a little bit more performance, but the CPU runs so well, I don't see really any reason to overclock. You're going to be getting, just a couple frames per second more. So I particularly picked the B660 because I'm probably not going to be overclocking this, and I'm just going to let it sit as it is. And it's cheaper, $200 cheaper. So, and Asus makes great motherboards, and this has some pretty good reviews on it. And so if you're into building small computers, mini ITX, give this check this out. Check this Asus board out. Just not the price, but of course Asus and their Strix division, they make pretty good stuff. So what we're going to be pairing with this motherboard memory-wise, here we have the Trident Z5 RGB. So, and this is DDR5 RAM. Now I know what you're saying, DDR5 RAM, overpriced. When it first came out, yeah, because it was scarce and scalpers were getting in the market. You were looking at, for 2 sticks of 16 gigabyte RAM, so 32 gigabytes total of DDR5, especially the G-Skill Trident Z5 series, you were looking at close to $800, $900, and which is totally outrageous for that bump in performance. But now, just like the video cards, the memory has come down tremendously in price, tremendously, and you can get it anywhere from $350 to $400, which is still not quite DDR4, which 32 gigs you can probably get around 170, 180, depending on the speed that you're getting and the manufacturer and all that. But I mean, if you're going to upgrade to the latest 12th gen platform, um, and you kind of want to future proof yourself, I would go to DDR5 since it's come down in price. But if you're looking to save a little bit more money, then yeah, go with the DDR4 and you can save, at least 100, 150 bucks and can put it towards maybe faster GPU. So yeah, it's all preference. Now DDR5 does get a little bit more performance boost while using Windows 11. Same thing with the CPU because of the E cores and the P cores. The Windows scheduler in Windows 11 can handle that much better. So yeah, we will be installing Windows 11 Pro onto this Mini ITX gaming build. For the NVMe's, I'm going to be using the Western Digital Black. I have the 2TB SN850, which is comparable to the Samsung 980 Pro in speed, and that is going to be predominantly for putting all my games on. And the other one is also Western Digital Black, and that one is the SN770, which is a little bit faster than, and they're all PCIe Gen 4, and that one's just a little tad bit slower than the SN850. I think it's 5300 megabits per second, and I think, yeah, so it's just a tad bit slower, and that one's going to be going on the back side of the motherboard with a heatsink on it. So, and that will be the boot drive for the computer. And I will have a good amount of storage. I think 3 terabytes is pretty good. So it's 2 terabytes and then 1 terabyte, 3 terabytes of storage. I think it will be plenty enough for right now, of course. And then if I want to later, I can add in some 2.5 SSDs within there. So power supply, going with the EVGA Supernova, 1000 watts. Yes, I'm going 1000 watts. Why? Because future proofing. If I want to change out this video card, which is the 3080 Ti EVGA for the Win 3, we know the newer video cards, like the 4000 series, are probably going to be 500 watts plus. The 3090 Ti just came out, and it's already at max pulling like 520 watts. So I could just imagine what the 4000 series, 4070, 4080, 4090, I'm sure they're going to be pulling close to 600, maybe even more wattage. So I would rather have a power supply that can actually handle that without tripping or, sending in enough power to all my components so I can have a seamless gaming experience. And with EVGA and the 1000 G6 gold standard power supply, these are good power supplies. They collaborated with Seasonic into making these power supplies, and we all know Seasonic makes good power supplies. So that's the power supply. Onto the video card. Yes, this is the one that's been out of stock for a year and a half. People have been wanting $2,000+ for this card. This is the EVGA for the Win 3 3080 Ti model. And this card is pretty much comparable to a 3090 in terms of the board, the speed, and just an overall performance. But you're paying less, at least $500 to $600 less for this card than buying the 3090 and only getting 2 to 3% performance better than the 3080 Ti over the 3090. And save that money, put it towards something else. Trust me. And also, if you just want to get a regular 3080, not the Ti model, a 3080 10 gig model or a 3080 12 gig model, you can actually save another like $200. And your performance will drop 5 to 7%, depending on the game, but you can save that money. So yeah, this is the biggest component for the last year that's been hard to get, of course. So video card. Let's move on to the cooler. I actually wanted to get a Noctua NH U12A, I think it is. So it's 120 millimeter fans in the single tower. They've been out of stock for a while. So I've seen good reviews on this Be Cool right here. It is the AS500 Plus White Edition, of course. So what we're going to be doing is kind of the case is black. We're going to be doing kind of a white accent with the black case. I think it's going to turn out pretty cool. This is two 100 millimeter fans, one on the front, one on the back, single tower, right in the middle. The reviews on it have been great. Pretty much putting it up there with the Noctua DH15, which is crazy. And that's a dual tower. That's a big, big cooler. So this has a little RGB cap on the front, giving nice accents and stuff. So checking out the reviews, looking at it, seemed like a pretty good deal. Of course, the Noctua NH 812U. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but that one is going to run you about 120 bucks for the Chrome Max series. This cooler right here will run you about 65 to 70 bucks, and for the performance that you get, it's just totally great, totally great. So, and then we have the power cables, the sleeve cables. They're white. They're going to be white accent for the case, and so we're going to put that in there, and yeah, it's going to look great. I think it's going to be a great build. So let's get to it. What's up, guys? Your boy chilling with Q10, and we have the build right here, the M-ITX, the Fractal Nano case. It is complete, and let me tell you, man, this build, it wasn't one of my hardest builds, but it did take me longer than I expected. I had ran into a few issues with this build, and we're gonna talk about it right now. So, first issue, the deep cool heatsink didn't work, and I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, the height of it for this case, it would have fit, but in a M-ITX configuration, the 144 millimeter intake fan on the front was hitting the RAM heat sinks, and I wasn't able to get the door closed. So that was the first issue. So I decided at first I was just going to run it with one fan on the back, and so I had everything installed, put Windows on, but first I was in the BIOS before I installed Windows, and I noticed that the CPU was running at like 45 degrees Celsius, hitting 50 at idle in the BIOS. I'm like, something's not right. So I did install Windows and went through everything. Got hardware monitor, opened it up, and as I was opening up Google Chrome to download some more stuff, the fans had kicked in at 100%, and when I looked over at hardware monitoring, the temperatures were hitting 100 degrees Celsius. I was like, oh no, something is definitely off. So I hurried up and shut it down, uh, unscrewed the heatsink and looked at it, and it wasn't even touching the IHS. The paste was still on there, not even spread out. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm surprised it didn't burn the CPU up, I was like, man. So what went wrong? Well, first of all, I got the bracket from Deep Cool. They sent me out the supposed 1700 bracket kit for this cooler, and I used everything correctly in that kit, and still it wouldn't bottom out. It wasn't even putting pressure on the IHS. So that leads me to believe they're sending out the correct backplate for it, but they're not sending out the correct spacers. The spacers are too tall, and it won't sit on the CPU correctly. So Deep Cool, maybe you should change up the marketing, or if you don't have the correct spacers with the kit, maybe don't send them out. Wait till you get the correct spacers and start shipping them with it as you order it, as people order it. So I really wanted to try it out, really, because for $70, if the thing would have been, excellent, it would have been, a good buy for people who don't want to spend $120 on Noctua. So with that said, I had to go and spend $120 on Noctua, because I wanted to finish the build, and Amazon really good at overnight shipping. So I ordered the Noctua. It came in, had the bracket kit for the 1700 and everything. Looked at the spacers. The spacers were shorter, and put it all together. Screwed it down, seated it, unscrewed it, and made sure that the thermal paste was on there. Which it was, you could feel the stickiness of it. So like, good, it done seated all the way down. So re-screwed it down, started up in the BIOS. Temperature is running in the BIOS at idle, 27 degrees Celsius. I was like, this is great. So I went into Windows, did a few stress tests with CPU-Z, and it was just phenomenal. I am very happy with this cooler. This is my original plan, was to go with this cooler, but they were out of stock, and it looked like they weren't going to get stock. We wasn't going to get the stock in time for the build, but as I was doing the build, they had stock at Amazon, and I could overnight it. So kudos to overnight for Amazon, and I am very happy. Noctua, of course, the brand is great. They always pull through in the clutch when you need them to, and it looks great. Even though this had the RGB plate on the front, and I like the white design because I was going with the white accent, I was able to get the Chrome Max front cover plate for it in white, which makes it look great because different white accents with the cables and the fan, rear case fan in the back. So yeah, I mean, there it is. I couldn't use this. Sorry, Deep Cool. The kit you sent me didn't work. I'm gonna have to start replacing those spacers with the correct ones. So anybody out there that's looking to build using this product, or maybe any of the Deep Cool products for 12th gen 1700 LGA, you may want to go with Noctua, because in the box, right out of the gate, it works. Definitely. So trust me on that. Another issue I had was with the video card. Wasn't too bad of an issue, just kind of seemed like it didn't want to seat right. Just had to wiggle it, and it's seated, and screwed it down. And when I started up, fingers crossed, hopefully, it was in there correctly, and it was. So, I mean, just a minuscule kind of offset from me, because I didn't know, is it all the way in or what? Some of my other builds that I've done, the video card just just right in there, no problem at all, tightened it down. But yeah, I mean, I am happy with the way this turned out. I love the ITX case design. The Fractal Nano is beautiful case. Tons of airflow. It's just, great all the way around. And also, I was going to put the Noctua 15mm fans at the bottom, but as it turns out, it was sitting right up against the shroud. Even at 15mm, it was right up against the shroud of the video card, and I didn't like that. So I was able to rig one at the bottom down here, at least having some intake for the video card to cool this behemoth 3080 Ti. And so I couldn't put both of them, but I got one. So it's better than nothing. That's where the dust cover slips in right here. And typically I don't use the dust covers. I know it kind of saves on cleaning, but I want all the airflow, no restriction, whatsoever, especially with this behemoth of a video card in there. And it's running really cool. So that's it, guys. I mean, I'm very happy with the build. Like I said, if you're going with an air-cooled, be careful who you go with for 12th gen. If you're doing 12th gen, be careful who you go with. Some companies have the correct brackets and spacers in there. Some don't. Noctua, I can vouch for Noctua. Of course, they always come through in the clutch. It was really easy, to install, and it's one of those things where I should just went with my gut and waited and got this first, But things happen, and we got it built, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I know I haven't done much videos, but in a while, and this is especially a computer video, but here it is in all its glory. So thank you guys for watching, and if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click that like button. And we'll see you next time on the next build or future videos covering other ranges or whatever. So, all right, chilling with Q10. Peace out.